So there's a couple additional things that I want to share with you, additional pieces of information that will be useful as we're starting to create classes. And the first one of these is called the initialization method. You can see it is a method. It is a method that has in its name two underscores before it and two underscores after it. And the name is INIT. It stands for initialization. It is what's called a special method. Lots of classes have a special method. Even if you don't create the special method, they do have it by default, just when you create it, when you create an instance of that class. But in this case, what I'm saying is I'm going to give that special method a new definition so that it's more useful to me. And what you can see here is that inside that special method, I'm looking for two parameters in addition to self. I'm looking for int car wheels and str car make. So I want to give it a string that has the make of the car, and I want to give it the number of wheels. And I have to do that when I create an instance of that object. You can see it no longer defines those with a static number. It doesn't say int wheels equals 4 up there anywhere. I have to give those numbers, I have to give those arguments to those parameters when I create an instance of that class. So it requires it. So when you can see here now, when I'm instantiating that class, or when I'm creating an instance called my car of the CL car class, I'm giving it 4 for int car wheels and Ford as a string for the car's make. Self is always there. It's always just an automatic. So you don't need to give any arguments to that parameter. It's just there. So then I can access those things later. So once again, if I'm taking this, let's see here, that's part of that. Oop. There we go. All right. So here's me using that. And as part of this initialization class, maybe I want to print something out so that it acknowledges what I'm doing. So if I print something inside that class, I might say something like, you added a self.strMake with self or int wheels. There we go. Kind of a weird construct there, but now when I run that, let's see, even if I don't have that print statement, so just creating an instance of that car is going to say you added a Ford with 4 wheels. So I can now create additional cars, and those cars exist now in my program. So if I wanted to, I can just access things like those specific properties and print them out or change them or do what I want to do. And that allows me to control those separately. Now you're not seeing anything visual on the screen like you were with the turtle, but I've still got 2 instances of that object or that class that I'm controlling separately. But the initialization method does this stuff, or it sets the value of these, and then it does this. So it executes all of this code when you create the object. That's what that initialization method does. So this is all stuff that you want to happen when you create an instance of that object. And that is useful. There's one more special method that I want to share with you. and it's called the string method. And the string method just returns a customized object description. What do I mean by that? Well, let's check it out. So in this case, actually I want to keep those. If I just print that instance, my car, print my car, this is what I get. Now, that actually has value. What it's telling me is that inside my main program, that's that underscore main, I have a CL car object, and that object is stored at this location in the computer's memory. That actually refers to a specific physical location in the computer's memory chips where that object lives right now. I turn on my computer, it goes away. That memory gets cleared. But that's actually a physical location, which I think is kind of neat. But this isn't always super useful. Maybe I want to create a more useful string so that when I print out that object, I don't just get the object type and the memory location. Maybe I get something more useful. So I'm going to say def 2 underscores str, just like that. And it still takes self. Every method has to have self as a parameter. You don't have to put anything else, but you do have to include self. And that is so that this can access the properties of itself. Okay, so if I want to say return, I'm not printing here, I'm returning something. It's a return something method, but I'm going to return a string that says this self.strMake has self.int wheels. Okay, so that's what it returns now instead. So when I print that, it's not going to give me the weird thing anymore. It's going to give me that customized string, which could be useful for a lot of different things. But you kind of need to use your imagination.